going to line it up. But we start things off here. Winners, finals time. We got the double Orion versus the Sidra and the Hattori on the other side.
One thing that really stands out about this Orion comp is Doggo decides to fly really far to the left side. He's good right now. Wait, nope. He might be having some connection issues. We are just inside the 10-second mark, so I'm not sure what will happen. I think they're going to try to play this out.
Yeah,
It's definitely a little awkward start, though.
Yeah, Vay's still sitting over on the right, and they're not engaging, so at the moment it could be them just trying to set up a reset. But, oh, well, actually, see, they hit each other and then they dip away. So I never know if is this just Australia neutral?
Like, is this the play style, or is
this the key? Is this the unlocked neutral of Australia? It looks like it. It does seem like the gameplay is going off.
Oh, is Zackdaboss a rename of Raigunda's? Because I'm seeing the RYG, and Raigunda's is definitely a known name.
Okay, that would make a whole lot more sense, to be completely honest. I mean,
like PR number 11. He's got to like have done something, but doesn't matter as the NSIC hits for Hypka. All right, we got the juggles coming in on the double Orion's recovery as Zackdaboss gets launched out there. So far, slight advantage to Hypka and Vay as the side air takes out another blue team member.
Yeah, try to catch him with the D-Sig over on the side. Meanwhile, I always enjoy watching the way that they keep the blue team stuck in the air. Obviously, it's Lance, so you're going to be avoiding Nair 10 times throughout the entirety of one stock. But the fact that they were able to separate the two of them and allow a power play over on the left, essentially, it's very, very needed, and that's a big reason why they're so consistent. But at the moment, the red team holding on pretty well here, Duke, to the first stocks.
Yeah, they're definitely holding on. Oh, that's the NSIG.
I am so sorry.
Almost got the double. I love the angle on that one. Downlight recovery, still not enough. Orion with just a little bit too much defense for this blue team, but they finally clean up the stock.
That's Sarah going to go ahead and get the job done right there. Both of them just trying to get some damage on, but Hypka, I mean, there it is again. Hypka's defense is just so crucial to the success of that team. Of course, you got Vay who could just capitalize at any given point in time. They have the Sphere and the Lance, always shifting between the two. They don't ever have the same ones, prevents that same weapon DI. And at the moment, it's looking like Zackdaboss is kind of waking up a bit. I haven't really seen him hit in quite some time.
Yeah, he's definitely been struggling a little bit. Honestly, I think he's been doing a little bit better than Doggo, though, all things considered. But Doggo gets a nice read there. Saw him go for that gravity cancel sidelight, reading Vay moving through him. So getting some good damage built up. There's potential here for the blue team to steal back the lead.
This is a big opportunity right here. Here goes Doggo on the side. He does miss out, but he does follow up right there. Gets that Nair, goes for the weapon toss now, tries to get them down air, but everybody getting hit in the midst of that. There goes Zackdaboss to make sure that it was the blue team instead that came out on top.
I really love the target swapping that came out of Doggo there. He hit the end line on one of the two Orions and then immediately naired the other one who was flying right over him. Really good kind of awareness coming out from Doggo as he sees Vay is the most damaged. He's looking for the KO and he'll find it with the Nair.
All right, there's that again. Zackdaboss has just been so good on defense since like stock one. At the beginning, he got hit quite a bit, but since, you know, he is currently in the red, but it took a long time to get here, and he's going to keep trying to extend this. Meanwhile, they're going for a big play over on the side, trying to get an early Sair onto Doggo. Doggo does get around, but this is not all of a sudden looking that good. Even though that's going to be a stock loss, look at how much damage got put on the Doggo in the midst of that.
Yeah, that's a really tough spot to be in. He is now the main target of the red team. He has to avoid all of these big side airs that come out from both of these Orions, as it's now on Zackdaboss to try to be in the middle of all that, but the team combo comes out and they separate just in time.
And sometimes it's the plays that don't happen that people don't realize. If you don't see that side air come out from Vay, just to cover that distance, that D-Light from Hypka doesn't get to really continue. So he kept Doggo away, but there's still an even game. This is a lot closer than it seems all of a sudden. That Sair's going to push him deep off stage. Very close.
Got interrupted. He had the downlight. That's a true combo option there, but Zackdaboss hits a downlight side air. Doggo avoids the dare. You see the stars come out, and Hypka's going down, and so does Vay. That is a KO and a win.
Doggo with the clutch play right there, reversing that. He was off stage for most of that, like last minute to two of the game, but all it took was one mistake. I believe it was Vay who was off stage with them. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that right here. Oh, this is what I was talking about before. That's Sair. You saw the separation, but oh, it was Hypka. Hypka getting caught, going underneath. You have to fade back no matter what because weapon toss is in the way, but he was already ripped out. That's a free side air, and that's the blue team taking the game from what looked like was it going to be their game for a second.
Yeah, it definitely looked very early on like a Vayne Hypka game. They had those early stocks, they had a lot of momentum, and you saw it kind of wrestle back from Doggo and Zackdaboss. A lot of it, again, I want to give credit to Zackdaboss. He was the one who was really controlling the pacing. You saw Doggo do some of these big plays with the cannon, and it's really good that he was able to get those dodge reads, but on the other side, Zackdaboss is the one who, kind of like we mentioned, he's able to control a lot of the pacing within this 2 space and then also set up.
Yeah, but he picked it up right at the moment where he needed to, too, because I know we brought it up a couple times, but if he doesn't pick it up after that first stock, the game starts to derail. And like I said, also now that we know it's right gun, things make so much more sense. But they're looking really good here. That is already 1 point on the board for them. We're going to go over to Apocalypse. So just a slight difference in blast zone size, of course, and that's going to help a bit in terms of survivability. But they didn't really get knocked out off the top, to be honest, most of the time. It was usually off the sides.
Yeah, definitely a lot of horizontal KOs. A lot of it being Zackdaboss coming in, getting those downlight side airs in particular. And those were incredibly effective as the anchor catches his teammate there from Doggo.
That was just a warning, like, yo, no. That's my target. Okay, go over there, sit down. That D-Sig is going to separate them. That's a good reversal stare from Hypka. They had an opportunity to try and pressure right gun. I see now I'm doing it. Zackdaboss. But the soft platform moved just enough away to give him a landing.
And you see Hypka got the combo. He got that N-Sig to finish it off, and then he backed away. He wanted the power play opportunity onto Zackdaboss as 2 side Sigs come out, and Doggo can avoid both.
This is going to be a good dodge around the D-Sig as well. Meanwhile, neutral Sig attempt over there on the side. That Sair will not be enough just yet. Here's an opportunity, though, on 2 of them. Weapon toss down. Just to throw out the neutral Sigs. My goodness, he literally grazed right underneath that.
Yeah, that's a very interesting usage of that N-Sig. Like, you'll see it a lot. Usually it's like Thatch players who want it to cover the corner, but Doggo's basically trying to force people to land right in front of him so you can go those D-Light nairs. Nice nair follow-up off of Zackdaboss, and that's going to give the blue team a tiny lead here.
That was so good that we got to remind you, #playthatch. But right now, good attempt to try and go catch some early damage over on the side. Of course, that dare will not really lead to too much at that point. That Sair will go ahead and get the knockout. Actually, we're at a very close game here.
Definitely a couple of hit difference. It's super close. Could really go either direction. And Vayne and Hypka need to start gathering the control of this one because it's been the blue team with the most of it.
You know, get you someone like Appa who just flies around while the world is ending in the background. Everybody's fighting each other, and he's just still just staying right there, just comfortable, ready to go. It's like, look, I got you, bro. Good.
Dude, honestly, I just want to give so much credit to Australia for bringing back the flying bisons. Appa was the last of them, and now we've got 2. So, like, clearly the populations are coming back.
You know what? Kudos to them. They do have quite a few unique animals over there for sure. But I am very curious how Zach gets out of this situation.
Doggo's trying to get the room,
but that doesn't lead to enough. Doggo unarmed has to deal with 2 of them in the way. Does sneak his way back on, but nothing really comes of it.
Yeah, Vayne and Hypka really backed away. They didn't want to mess with that 1v2 off stage. Instead, they're like, come back up. We have potential for some team combos, but Zackdaboss sneaks in there, gets the downlight recovery off the soft platform, keeps this one even.
And Doggo's basically been the damage setter, and Zackdaboss has been the ace of the staff. He's making sure that he gets these closeouts when you need it. Going up there again, tripling up on the nairs to try and get that damage going. Sair won't be enough still on Doggo.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how much aerial movement is on the map, and it's really Zackdaboss who's flying the highest right now. He is trying to stay in the sky to get these vertical knockouts.
It's like, come up here. Please, come up here. I dare you. And they realize, no, that is not. Actually, no, they're still going to do it.
Anchor.
This is a bad spot for Hypka. No wall touch. And now, all of a sudden, Vay's forced to fight the 2v1.
Yeah, and there's 3 stocks left on the blue team. Even if Doggo loses this stock, he's got another one behind it. The cannonball thrown out, and it's not going to work out for him as Vayne sneaks under, hits that down heavy.
Gets in, gets the weapon, but now you're in a spot where basically any side lights you commit to are going to get punished. Anything you do off of a D-light is probably going to get punished. So you have to go for... Yeah, you have to basically space out a side air. Or that works. That separates the 2 of you. Do you find a side air? No, instead you're going to get recovered. Won't be enough just yet, but good job at least separating them.
Yeah, there aren't too many low active frame moves on the spear to get away with the 1v2, and Doggo picks up the downlights there to give them 2-0 lead over Vayne and Hypka, the top players in doubles in Australia.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like you said, is there's a lot of commitment to anything to do with spear. Lance, I mean, has commitment as well, but the most linear option you could do is Sair or something along the line. He tried a D-Sig attempt. He got it with the side Sig. That threw me off too. But you have to hope to separate them and get them apart. And if you're Doggo, you know the target is Zack the whole time. So you just wait for that one attempt. You send them back off stage. It's fine. Zack doesn't go down yet. You continue to pressure. Still a 2v1. That was really good on them to make sure that didn't derail when he did finally get that hit.
Yeah, really well done, again, on both sides, because, like, again, Doggo knowing he has the extra stock knows he can play a little bit more aggressive, and then on the other side, Zackdaboss knowing he's the more damage between the two of them, needs to play a little bit further back, something that he can do with that high movement speed as well. So he can play further back and then run in when he needs to. And right now, Zackdaboss and Doggo are 1 game away from knocking out our top seed.
I had to take a look because of how good they're playing right now, how their bracket run has been so far. They have dropped a collective total of 2 individual games, and those 2 games went to Asmodee and Elsem. So that makes perfect sense, and that's that's how Asmodee and Elsem are in the elimination side of bracket right now. So they have just been cruising, and so far, even when things are looking kind of good for the red team, it's always the blue team who's able to kind of just bear down first and get the job done.
Yeah, they've been really good at taking back those leads. And now we're going over to Miami Dome for game number 3 as Zackdaboss again with this verticality, playing the recoveries, trying to throw out those nairs.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of, to be honest, whenever we see like double spears, counter pick over to Miami Dome at some point, usually when we see a comeback, it ends up being on here because they control so much range. That said, that hasn't really mattered because Zack is just playing that much different, but that ground pound might get him something out of that. Good recovery save, though, from Doggo. If Doggo doesn't get there, Zack goes down.
That was some fantastic save work and a fantastic KO that happened just before it. Doggo had the sideline side air to give themselves that stock advantage, and then he immediately goes down, hits the moves that he needs to hit, and then Zackdaboss takes that lead spot and starts hitting away Vey so they can get back up safely. Again, the save from Doggo.
That was so good. And Doggo's defense as well, even on that spot dodge to get out of there and avoid that neutral light. Doggo's, you know, I mean, we talked a lot about that defense before. Doggo does fall and get caught by a ground pound, but Doggo's defense picked it up a ton too over the past couple games.
Yeah, this is definitely showing like why these are a 2's team. They've got that synergy, they've got that follow-up, and they've, of course, been able to save each other so many times as Doggo, again, trying to just split this red team apart. You see him throwing one to the right.
They were scrapping for a minute there. But, I mean, you have to, too. It's at that point where you have to swing big to hopefully get one of these knockouts. You have, of course, Vey sitting on borrowed time. Hypka's also sitting on borrowed time, which is not a common statement we usually give. And it's also basically one good hit away from being on one last stock, which there he goes, Duke.
Yeah, he is going to eventually lose that stock, and Vey does lose his as well. Slight stock, or sorry, actually just basically a full stock advantage over to the blue team.
I think the main win con, and it's the most obvious win con here, but the main win con is you need to get a 2v1 play onto Zackdaboss. I want to say regular so bad.
Yeah.
You have to get it because that's your lightest target. That's your best opportunity to maybe sneak away an early KO. But I think that Doggo kind of caught onto that first, got hit quite a bit for it, but it's just body blocking right now.
I mean, that used to be like one of the strategies against this 2's comp is to try to take out Zackdaboss early and then push that lead as long as you can. But right now, looks like they're trying to play that edge guard against Doggo, but they can't get more out of it.
Not too much that could really happen there. Both of them were on a soft platform, so even with that whiff, there's nothing you do to get over there to get that quick enough. Meanwhile, here goes Zack.
He's in position.
Does get the wall touch. So does Vey, who was actually in a weird spot there. That's going to be a decent, though. Gonna go ahead and get one. Can they get Doggo as well? That would be so big for them right now. That actually would put them in the lead.
Dude, they're really hunting for this KO. You can see so many ground pounds thrown out from Vey. Side sig connects onto Zackdaboss, though. Hypka, though, starting to get more damage built up. The side air connects. Blue team starting to fall apart here as the red team has evened it up, and they've got the lead.
Hypka got six straight hits without being completely uncontested there, and 2 of them were D6. So, like, Hypka definitely waking up here, gives them the lead. Zack all of a sudden in a bad spot. That's a separation right there of Vey, but it doesn't matter. Their damage is getting done.
But they do take out Vey, and now Hypka needs to survive this edge guard. Ground pound doesn't connect for Doggo, and Zackdaboss doesn't cover high enough.
Yeah, that was a really good route that he took there. After that ground pound, avoiding the slide cancel detail to try and just get something going. But D-Light recovery is that dangerous zone soon. I mean, Zack has already shown he'll hide up in the skies the entire time. But Zack actually getting caught with a pogo. Here comes the ground pound, misses out. Zack in a very weird position as Zack actually falls. So now Doggo has to deal with the 2v1.
And Doggo tried to convert that into at least a trade out, but Hypka was right above, and he didn't want to overcommit on this edge guard. Red team gonna back away, just control that main stage as Doggo has to play a little aggressive. He's likely looking for Hypka, but Hypka's not even in downlight recovery territory just yet.
Yeah, I did actually really like the weapon lineup that was going for Doggo too, because of the fact that you have sword, and I don't think you're gonna get off sword right now. You need the quick hits, you need things like Nair just to rack up damage, and but at the moment, currently getting pogoed, and that's 2 spears to get around. How did you do it? How did you do it? Again, he keeps sneaking by.
You know, some good movement coming out from Doggo, picked the right positioning, but can't avoid it forever as the side stick connects and Vay and Hypka put themselves on the board.
I'm not gonna lie, that one felt personal. That was like, all right, buddy, and it just rolled right through, caught up with the side stick to close it out. But when somebody's being super evasive on you for a good amount of time and you're just done with it, that one felt personal. So that also does give them another game loss. We said it before, they have not dropped pretty much any other than one of the teams we expect to be in the category to win it all, and the other opposing team that they were up 2-0 at that point.
Yeah, well, now Vay and Hypka have to try to win 2 more if they want to go into the grand finals and guarantee a top 2 finish. Doggo and Zackdaboss, they, interestingly enough, like, I think game 1 and game 2, they were playing from behind at the start. Game 3, it looked like they were playing from ahead, and then it fell apart, which is
like, I can
really
actually, I can pinpoint the exact moment too, because I decided to take a look over here and look at how little damage Vay took at this point. Oh, excuse me, wrong one. That was Hypka who took little damage here. But Vay did 675 compared to everyone else's about 500. So Vay picked it up a ton to make sure that they were able to seal the deal. And part of that was Vay's amazing coverage that he had on Zack. Because we mentioned before, the obvious thing is to go after Zack. But the obvious play sometimes is the most optimal. And that's a big reason why they got that game.
Well, now we're seeing blue team try to play a little bit more team focused, right? A little bit of sandwich attempt, but not really getting a lot there. You see a couple of neutral lines, but nothing else. So far, damage rates have been relatively even.
Yeah, very straightforward. Just side airs, side air Nair, making an attempt to try and catch him in a neutral stick, but doesn't really lead to anything. That was a solid punish, but does not lead to the knockout on Zack. Zack's got to be careful in these scrambles more often. Before, the defense on Zack was immaculate, and now Doggo and Zack are both getting caught a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that's rough about the Hattori, right? Base 4 defense. So she is relatively squishy, but the dodge read from Doggo means that it won't matter. There's one less threat on the board for a little bit here.
Doggo has been really picking it up so much over these last few games, and that's the big thing with twos. You got to rely on your teammate, but however, that is both of them taking a trip outside of the blast zone at the same exact time, and Vay, much like the last game, continuing to just be like the strong point the red team needs right now.
Yeah, Vay's definitely been holding it down in these last 2 games for this red team. Doggo going for the same dodge read there, was expecting Hypka to come back down to him.
They try to get a Nair to separate them. You saw that Hypka's positioning was there too. If the Nair got sent back in, it would have been a free D-light, but instead, Vay blew up. Vay exploded off the top. But now it's, again, a very close game. These stocks matter a ton right now, because this is the difference between feeling super pressured on last stock to try and force a game 5 or feeling comfortable with the lead you have. And it's as even as it could get.
Oh man, Vay actually went for a follow-up there off of Hypka's downlight side air on the spear. He was launching it over to the teammate. And Vay was ready, but he just didn't quite have the positioning for it. He's still utilizing those side airs. That's one thing that's really nice about Lance and 2s. Like, it's not really a combo weapon, but it just kind of forces the opponents really far away.
Exactly, and you always have to, like, fear the burst, no matter what. Like, the potential of that burst range of the spear. And you're right on the point, the fact that Vay he hasn't really dropped a lot of follow-ups. So the fact that he's starting to drop some right now is huge, but that it's a big anti-air. Meanwhile, they got them over on side. No power play, though, because Zack just stares them out.
Man, they're all hunting for that KO. So many people deep red, but it's going to be Zackdaboss first win of all. Nice spot dodge from Doggo, leaves him in position to hit that down air. But still, look at Vay's health in comparison. He is holding it down for the red team.
And also, Doggo was holding it for a good bit there, too. It does finally fall. I do, like...
Team Go.
Doesn't get the extra follow-up right there. Doesn't matter that they got the damage. As long as you're getting damage on the board, that's what matters. But... said it before, I gotta say it again. Vay's defense is really big right now. It's gotta be on Hypka, who's usually the defensive all-star, to pick this up.
I think what Hypka's doing is fine as long as he's starting to hit those follow-ups, right? Just let Vey be that kind of aggressor, that one who's just creating those moments. And then as long as you're keeping those moments going, you're doing good. But right now, he's got to avoid getting knocked out. Vey's the one who gets back down to the stage.
Yeah, there's always the fear of that cannon running around right now, too. There we go. That's going to go ahead and get one on the board. They have an opportunity here to go after Hypka. Misses out on the neutral stick. Hypka gets over the soft platform immediately to try and minimize anything that can happen. And now one stock apiece here, game 4.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate timing. Doggo set up for Rygundas, but Rygundas was doing the weapon swap, so he just wasn't ready. That was some stars coming out, but the save from Zackdaboss and the N-Sig's not going to hit for Rygundas. So many people in the red.
D-Sig accidentally sending Hypka outside of stage, so that puts an opportunity for them to get some damage onto Vey. Vey taking more and more hits as the time is going. Doggo is going to get the recovery. Won't be enough just yet.
Doggo is hunting down Vey, the less damage between the two of them. Very interesting that he doesn't want to try to take out Hypka first.
Yeah, I feel like that would be like a big primary target considering he's been the one on the most damage so far. But the side air will get Zack, and now Doggo sitting on last stock needs to try and take out at least one of them. You have cannon, you can get the job done, but that is a big whiff punish, and we're looking at what could possibly be a game 5.
He didn't do it! He didn't stare! He has horizontal movement, but he thought he was going to touch the wall, and instead he falls. Vey and Hypka are bringing this one to game 5.
I felt so much pain in your voice.
I've been there though, like, you know, like, you're like, I'm gonna touch it. I'll just hold left. It's fine.
I got it. I don't got it. I didn't get it. And now all of a sudden we're in the last one here. I mean, the weapon toss came through, forced to recover high.
Just say
fearful of the idea. Yeah, you get. Yeah.
one Sarah and it would have been fine, but. You know what? He tried to go by the narrow margins there. Look at the stat screen for doubles.
Yeah, this is that game was significantly closer.
There's no way that's real.
So it was
no shot. Oh, 161 light attacks. I thought that was 161 SIGs from Zackdaboss.
No. Here you can see. Look at the graphs right there. The first look at this graph of the day. That was a very, very close game defense-wise, but also damage-wise. Vey once again sporting almost 700 points again, but this time Doggo picked it up by adding almost to 600, and both Hypka and Zack were doing fine with the range that they did, but Hypka doing about 100 less compared to the previous game. So Hypka, while was able to set up a ton for Vey, I feel like Vey wasn't able to really establish too much on-stage pressure because most of it was time spent trying to help Hypka. However, that is not the end of it because it is game number 5. It's kind of what we expect between these two caliber of teams. One of these two gets that comfortable spot in the winner's side of Grants.
And we're seeing Doggo make the swap. Despite the fact that he put out 300 plus damage in the last game with cannon, he said no more cannon time. It's time for Katars. Two very tiny weapons that are nothing like cannons.
It is all about the narrative, so we must make sure that Qatar show up on the top 3 graphic. That's all he's doing. But this is a very interesting change for sure. I feel like the Decision was just... I mean, just to put it plainly, I felt like the Decision was doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, also, again, like, you have options if you're like, okay, I really want Katars. Lin Fei exists. You could have Qatar cannon. Or if you want just, like, higher hitting, higher damage cannon, you could have gone to, like, a Zol. But either way, you know what? It's down to what Doggo wants to play here in game number 5, and they do have that tiny damage lead. They just need to find those finishing blows.
True enough, everybody's spending a lot of time looking at the brand new real estate that is on the left side of the screen. Meanwhile, great punish there from Zack, so that's going to get them to strike first, and most importantly, that was on Vey first.
I really thought that was going to be a misstep from Zackdaboss throwing it to the right side just because like that was such a far distance he was throwing his opponent, but ended up working out. Enough damage was on top of the red team, but they're keeping this stock count even.
Here goes Doggo trying to recover safely. That's a stuffed recovery, but nobody really there to get a punish because Zack just recovered in time to kind of allow them to have to change their focus. Zack's still completely unarmed, so can't really do too much to help, as that's going to be a knockout onto Doggo.
I love the coverage coming out from Vey there to cover low as Doggo was looking for the punish there. Hypka holding down the stocks this time for the red team, but the blue team is hunting for it. So many recoveries thrown out.
I am, by the way, very sad. They were cooking something fierce, and we didn't get to see it. I was ready to eat, and that they did not cook properly. The food is raw. That neutralize should be enough. That is going to be enough. Meanwhile, Vey just fighting for dear life over there on the side again. This is a very rare occasion where Vey is the one who's being threatened to get knocked out first. here again in this game 5. But that was such an amazing coverage, and all of a sudden, that statement doesn't matter that much anymore.
I mean, that's one thing that's really, really nice about Orion is he can throw those N-Sigs and just cover the entirety of the wall, and Zackdaboss had nowhere to touch. You saw the dominating come out from Vey, which means that he's gotten 3 KOs on the second stock.
I really want to know how much time Zach has spent in the skies, by the way, but that is going to be a knockout off the top right there. Doggo, weapon toss down.
Nice.
D-Light ground pound, and there goes the save attempt, but he still gets in.
That?
Oh my god, I thought he did it. I thought it wasn't going to happen. So all of a sudden, Hypka is still back in here on the second stock.
I need a slow-mo of that one. I don't know if he touched with that N-Sig, like it got him just high enough. Because like I swear he was sweat beating for a hot second there.
I agree. I thought that was forfeit, but it's going to be a Sarah from Zach. Now all of a sudden, Doggo sitting on 2, everybody else sitting on 1. Doggo, however, in a weird spot, does get back on.
Yeah, Zackdaboss giving him some reprieve so he could get back safely. But really, Zackdaboss needs to play that survival game. If he gets taken out, Doggo has to 1v2, which is so hard to do.
They're trying to make it to the final season here. The recovery is going to add a little bit more damage on the Vey. Vey just trying to get into the fight, but every time he goes into the fight, it doesn't lead to much. He does get a punish follow-up on the recovery. They get Zach off stage. There is an opportunity to put some damage on Doggo, but they realize Doggo is just in a good spot, and D-Sig will knock him out. Doggo forced the fight to 2v1.
Yeah, Vey slightly more damage, but again, not quite in that downlight recovery range that you want to have your opponents in when you're the one doing the 1v2. So he's going to have to add up some damage here as he's got 1 stock left to play with.
Ground pound comes through. Like you said, it's not done yet for anybody who might be rooting for the blue team, because that is a decent amount of damage on the Vey. Hypka is not completely uncheckable too, but your main target, of course, is Vey in the back. That's, of course, if you can ever get to a weapon.
Oh my goodness, Hypka has stolen out so many weapons. He's doing such a good job of doing these up tosses to try to just control airspace. Doggo finally gets a weapon. He didn't take too much damage in his scrap for it, but he's stuck on this right side wall. Does not want to get caught in that sandwich there.
This is exactly what you needed. It's what worked earlier on the Sidra too. The sword was the game plan. Will it be enough here on the Suri? But we are looking at not the best position. That's a separation. Trying to go for the reversal to get him away. That allows Vey to get back on.
Oh, he catches the jump. Doggo cannot afford to get caught like that. Sweat beat's coming out. He can't touch back, and Vey and Hypka hold on in game 5. They're going to grand finals.
Reverse 3-0 has been finished. They were down 2 full games to the blue team, who were playing phenomenally up to that point, and they still played phenomenally as well in the follow-up matches, but it was on Vey and Hypka to pick it up, and they sure did. The first couple games were definitely to Vey, who was able to put on a lot of damage, able to get themselves back into the game, but it was that last one where Hypka brought it back up, was able to pick it up a ton on defense, but also those edge guards mattered so much. And a crucial play point in all of this is that somehow, some way, Hypka ended up touching the wall. That was going to be a full stock difference, and instead Hypka got out, and it actually ended up leading to an edge guard on Zach. That completely shifted like the whole tone of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if we bring up the graph again, you can kind of see like the second Zackdaboss fell off, it was just like, all right, there's just so much work that has to be done.